All right, Algebra 2B. Here is a quick video. This isn't going to be all of them. Just trying to make it a quick video for those of us that need a little extra. Okay. Let's do a couple of these. We'll do like 2 or 3 from each one. First one here, we got cosine inverse of -1/2. Okay, so if you have your unit circle handy, step 1, cosine inverse is defined on the top half. Okay, where in these two quadrants would cosine be -1/2? So if you're looking at your unit circle, cosine should equal -1/2 right here. You should see -1/2 comma radical 3/2, and that should be at 120 degrees. And then also, if you're looking at your unit circle, that would say 2 pi over 3. Okay, you could use your calculator if you don't have your unit circle handy there, or for 120 degrees, remember it's 120 times pi over 180. That's 120 pi over 180, and we reduce to 2 pi over 3. All right, little easy way to reduce. Just do the fraction part. 120 divided by 180. That's 2/3. And we push math button. And then frac is the first option, and it changes your decimal to a fraction if possible. And we see 2/3, and we put the pi on top. Okay, let's do another one. Let's just do the whole top row. We'll do the whole top row. Okay, arc sine of radical 3/2. Okay, arc sine or sine inverse, same thing, is just defined on the right-hand side. So where on the right-hand side would sine be a positive radical 3/2? It should be right here at 1/2 comma radical 3/2. That would be 60 degrees or pi over 3. Again, this is from the unit circle. Okay, we're using our notes to, if we can't remember where each one is defined at. Cosine's on the top, sine is on the side, and tangent's on the side. Okay? Or we're using our calculator there, I guess, if you don't have your unit circle handy or have that memorized. All right, and we'll do one of the flips. Okay, cosecant inverse. I don't have a cosecant inverse button. I have sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse. I don't have a cosecant inverse. Okay, cosecant is really 1 over sine. Okay, 1 over sine is better, but it's still not the same I have on my button. I just have regular sine. So if I'm going to flip these, sine on top, I got to flip this one to keep my ratio true. So we're going to do sine inverse. If I flip this, I got to flip that with it. Radical 2/2. Okay, now that is going to work for us. And you might not even need it here. Look at sine, again, is on the side. Where would we see sine as radical 2/2? That's going to be right there at 45 degrees, because that is radical 2/2 comma radical 2/2. 45 degrees or pi over 4. All right. So we went through how to do it there with the unit circle, calculator, typing them in. Okay, how to get that. So like how to get cosine inverse. It's all second cosine, and then -1 divided by 2. There's your degrees, and then change it to your radians. We talked about how to change radians. All right, we're not going to work through those 3. You can look at the answer key for that. We'll do a couple of these. All right, these are just straight up typing it in. Hopefully we can recognize some of these. Okay. Tangent of cosine inverse of radical 3/2. So this is just calculator practice here. So I type in tangent, and then second cosine, and then square root of 3. And if you have this kind of calculator, you're going to have to hit arrow over to bump outside of your radical. Divide by 2, parentheses. Some calculators, if it gives you a parenthesis inside the square root, then you'd have to do another parenthesis to close off your square root before doing the divide by 2. close them. 0.5. Okay, it says round to the nearest hundredth, so that's 2 decimal places. So you look at the third, 0.577 would round up to 0.58. All right. You can type those in, not a big deal. Okay, and then the other one to look out for, save yourself some time, sine of sine inverse. Sine of sine inverse would just cancel out, and you're left with radical 3/2. Okay, getting down to the tough ones, the fun ones. All right, cosine theta equals negative 0.5. And again, I didn't do this either on the directions again. 0 to 360. 0 to 360. Okay. Cosine theta negative 0.5, we do cosine inverse. All right. And theta equals 120. This one's going to be a little tricky too. So here's my first one at 120. Okay. It'd be at negative 0.5 or negative half comma radical 3/2. That's a pretty common point there on the unit circle. Where would the other position be where we would also see negative 0.5 for the cosine value? Okay, cosine's positive here, negative, negative, positive. So it's somewhere down here, and it's just going to reflect over. Okay, I don't think we had any the last 2 days here that started in quadrant 2. We're used to having it start in quadrant 1, and then that's just the space we copy. Okay, I don't know. You have to think a little bit. What is this space right here between my angle and the x-axis? This is 120. This little gap here is 60, which means this gap is also 60, which means my full pink rotation here is going to be 180 and 60 more for 240. And the other way to do that would have been, since we reflected it over, 120 this way, negative 120 this way. Well, then what would that be equivalent to in the 0 to 360 kind of scheme? It's going to be 240. All right, so 120 and 240. I'll put that in black so there's no confusion. 120 and 240. Sine theta of 0.8. Okay, sine inverse. Theta equals 53.13. Okay, this is like more like what we had yesterday where they're always kind of like right in here. So there's 53.13. Where else would sine be positive 8? Okay, sine is positive in quadrant 1 and sine is positive in quadrant 2. So the pink one's going to be over here. And I just call it the pink one just because that's the other nice pen that shows up relatively decently. So 53 degrees here, 53.13 again over here. So my second angle, the full rotation, is 53.13 less than a half circle. So it's 180 minus 53.13. And that's going to give me 126.87. So there's my two answers there. Last one, tangent. Tan inverse to both sides. Theta equals 52.4. So a nice 52.4 right there. Okay. Oh, 2 decimals, 52.43. 0.43, 2 decimal places. All right, so where else is tangent positive? Remember, tangent is made up of sine divided by cosine. Okay, so sine and cosine are both positive here, so that's why tangent's positive. Sine is positive, cosine's negative over here. So it's going to be mixed, which means this is going to be negative. They're both negative down here. Negative divided by negative would mean tangent would be positive. So the second angle is actually in quadrant 3. And again, it's this same space, 52.43 right there. So the pink rotation is actually 180 and 52.43 more. 180 plus 52.43 more 232.43 for the pink one. All right, folks. That's basically what it's going to look like. Should go pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you guys. Good luck. We'll see you on Monday.